Let's go back to 1915. Woodrow Wilson was president. Cars looked like this. And then television was invented a few years later in 1927. You'd see the Harlem Renaissance spike up and see NATO established in the 1940s. Racial inequality would come to a boiling point in the 1960s during the Civil Rights Movement. And then you'd see a boom of technology in the 80s and 90s. You'd cross into the millennium, seeing a few more wars and a few more historic wins. Until you were 108 and celebrated another birthday in the year 2023. This is my cousin, Cosmas Eaglin Sr., and he was born in Louisiana on January 12, 1915. How are you doing today?
Okay.
Can you tell me a little bit about your childhood and growing up in Louisiana?
It's a country town, that's it. Well, I made the best of it after we got on our feet. Well, if you got there and you got a good job, you hold on to it. But I made it pretty good.
Growing up, Cosmas used segregated buses in town and had to use segregated entrances for buildings and train cars. At the age of 27, he joined the armed forces and served in not one, not two, but 3 wars. Can you tell me about serving in World War II?
I stayed in one place all the time, in Solomon Island, in the area of the Coral Sea. We replaced the Navy, and the Navy wasn't taking blacks at that time.
Cosmas was one of the first 300 black recruits to break the Marine color barrier when President Franklin Roosevelt passed an executive order in 1941. It required all branches of the military to fully accept people of color, and Cosmas went to Montfort Point in North Carolina to start his training. By this time, blacks had already been serving in every branch of the military, but the Marines were the last to officially accept blacks into their ranks. Still, many blacks were not trusted or allowed to be on the front lines or in active battle. Instead, many transported materials, cooked, or worked with logistics. I asked him if he was ever nervous integrating the Marines.
Just depends where you were located, let's put it that way. When they're segregated, and some units were still segregated when I come out. No, just whatever they told you to do, that's what we did.
He was also an active service member during the Korean War and served 2 tours in the 1960s.
We didn't know what was going to be next. That was always the way, you know. I served a year in Vietnam, and then come back to Fort Bragg after I served that time in Vietnam.
So I'm related to Cosmas on my dad's side of the family, and our common ancestors were 2 brothers named Patrick and Benjamin, and they were born in the mid-1800s. I know you might have some memories of my grandfather, Ray Eaglin. I never got to meet him. What can you share about Ray?
Yeah, he was fine. I was older than Ray. We grew up, and when we got grown, they were in the army.
Our family believes Cosmas might be one of the oldest black vets in North Carolina and possibly the whole country. According to the Department of Veteran Affairs, over 160,000 World War II vets were still alive in 2022. Have you seen progress in your lifetime in terms of the black community?
Yes, it was up and down. If you made it good for yourself, it was good. We got a lady as the Vice President of the United States. That's a lady. And one of our ladies. That's a big deal. We had to take the flag down and put up another one. The white flag went down, they said. It's a black flag up there now. We driving home.
Cosmas, what advice do you have for living a long life?
I'm not waiting to see what tomorrow's gonna bring.
I think it is so insane to have access and the opportunity to speak with someone so knowledgeable like Cosmas, who's seen so much in his lifetime, right? As we were speaking, I was thinking of all the challenges and adversity he had to overcome in his life, but also how many moments of joy and love and excellence he was able to see. I think if I ever lived to be 108, I'm sure there'd be some things I forgot about by now, but Cosmas was just a great reminder that there's living black history among us, all of us. And some of the darkest, most challenging times in our country weren't that long ago at all.